気な顔をして毎日過ごしてるの。それでも少し気が緩めば悲しみの海に沈め、すでにしおれてしまった愛のかけら、行くあてもなく頬を伝うよ。もしもこの先どこか出会えたらって無理かな、もう無理だよね。あの日誓い合った二人の約束、きっと果たすことはできない。でもね、どうか慣れてしまわないで、私が隣にいない指にキャンドルの火は消える。
Good evening and welcome back to the Dwarven Fortress of Keskalokil, where last session I worked out that that the reason why my dwarves weren't doing anything useful was because like at least 3/4 of them were scheduled to do various kinds of military duties, and that didn't really leave anyone to do the actual work. So we fixed that and turned down the military duties a bit, because probably I want the entire fortress in the military in due course, simply because we're slowly losing population, and so we're eventually going to reach that point. So that means that we've now finished building the swimming, or rather drowning pool for goblins, or at least the fundamental structure of it. What we are lacking is the bridge over the top of it, which we can see here flashing because it hasn't been built yet, which will drop them all in at some appropriate moment, we hope. Not sure if it's going to work yet, but that's the plan. I think the plan then is that we put a... Sam says, we're slowly running out of population, so we should send the rest out to fight. Hey, it's a while since we've lost anyone to the goblins. And part of what we're doing here is organising things so that the as many as possible of the goblins will be killed by other means before they end up meeting dwarves. So in addition to this bridge, which once it's built will just will I hope be triggered by a pressure plate somewhere just off the actually it could probably be triggered by a pressure plate like here or here or here, maybe all three, that will oh, maybe we should have arranged that there is actually one square all the goblins have to pass through. That would work better, wouldn't it? I'll fix that. Where was I? Yes, we'll have a pressure plate that any goblin leaving this platform has to pass through. We could put some walls there, couldn't we? That would probably work better. And when they do, that will open this bridge. The slight problem is it will actually open the bridge 100 ticks later because of how bridges work. So we might... I'm now slightly worried about whether it'll work in the right direction. Maybe we'll need some logic in there as well. So we might have to be engage in a bit more cleverness. Actually, yes, let's initially not fill the thing with water so that if we accidentally dump dwarves in it during testing, they won't immediately drown. Most of them won't drown anyway. Most of them can swim, but not all of them yet. That being another thing that I want to fix. Because, yes, the current swimming training system was very clever, but it does keep breaking, and it's currently in a broken state again. And I'm thinking about a slightly simpler system where the non-swimming capable squads of dwarves of military dwarves are assigned to a barracks which mysteriously has a lever you can pull to flood it, to close all the doors and flood it with water, but to a safe level, unlike the goblin drowning chamber. And and then the idea will be that that we send them to train, fill the thing with water, and then therefore they learn to swim. This should probably not flood. This should probably not be built in the existing dwarf washer. We should probably construct a new area for it. Possibly, I don't know whether it should be on the surface or not. Actually, let's make it slightly below the surface, so we have to use a pump to empty it, because that way we won't. Or we could drain it. Yes, I'm just thinking. No, yes, no. Draining will be fine because we can drain it. We've got a drainage system that works. We just need a bit of cleverness with the accounting. We can just route it into these drains. Or rather into these drains, because obviously we route it into this drain, it will then be sharing a drain with the existing swimming pool. Which, I mean, would kind of work, but would be sharing a drain control with the existing swimming pool. I suppose if we make it underground, it means we can construct it by digging rather than needing to construct it by building. But on the other hand, above ground is like a slightly safer place to put water because it's easier to get rid of it when it's above ground. Let's go for putting a reservoir above ground. I mean, we've got a reservoir already, but we'll build a new one. Indeed, it'll be quite a similar reservoir to that one, I think. And then a thing underground with a drainage system into the existing fortress drains. So where should we put it? I was kind of thinking about northwards, but it's much easier to get it southwards. Things towards the south, areas towards the south which are close to the existing fortress. The thing is, I don't want it to be very big. So if it's going to be filling from the river, from the West River, then it'll be this sort of area and won't extend far enough to meet the rest of the fortress comfortably. I mean, we do already have a barracks down here, but that's far too deep. Oh well. I mean, it doesn't actually. Oh no, let's build this thing. Let's construct it off in this area somewhere and just connect it up to whatever parts of the fortress we can. It's not like people will be going in and out very much, is it? So if we say it's going to be... we also have to deal with the fact that we've walled off this river to stop it overflowing, of course. That's not too hard to fix, is it? No. So let's put in some walls up here. So if we make it... what we want to do is to ensure that the reservoir, when filled to 7 units deep, has enough water in to fill the swimming pool to, say, to 4 or 5 units deep. If we put a bridge at the bottom covering the whole of the bottom of the reservoir, then we can guarantee that all of the water will come out into the barracks. So if we made this thing 5 by 10, we could then have a 7 by 10 barracks with a 1 by 10 drain underneath it, and that would do something vaguely reasonable. We need to be able to turn off the pumping before we drop all the water into the barracks. But we can do that with a gear assembly. So we could just have a pump there and then say that the left wall of the barracks is thus 1 square in. Left wall of the reservoir is thus 1 square in from there. Well, in that case, that could be the left wall of the reservoir, couldn't it? And we could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares, and therefore we could just start building a wall here. Oh, but we're going... No, no, we'll run into that windmill if we do that, right? I mean, we can make it fewer than 10. Let's just make it as wide as we can here, and then we'll do some digging to make this fit by some means or another. Should we continue making things out of copper? Like, we are fabricating everything out of goblinite here. So you could do it something like that. That's not quite right, but it's close. Seb says, how are you going to make sure you don't drown everyone? Well, I think my plan is that there will be a pump that fills this reservoir, and then the room below will be large, but that will fill this reservoir up to precisely 7/7 deep, like this one is filled. And the room below will be where the room below will currently intersect the existing swimming pool. That's no good. Well, it doesn't. Yes, it does. That matters. I think it turns out you can use that button to cancel construction of loads of things all at once. Yes. The swimming pool underneath will be then rather larger in area, so that the depth of the water is smaller. And by careful counting, indeed possibly even multiplication, we should be able to organise that that this is like moderately safe. So let's demolish those. Oh, hang on, does that work? Where is actually the edge of this? So that's going to be the north edge of thing, so that would still work, yes. So we could put the wall there. So we should make it that big. And then we're going to want to dig a rectangle that's, I mean, we're actually going to want to dig downwards, aren't we? Let's just do it from the surface for the most part. That should be fine. And then, yes, we'll make it slightly bigger underground so as to ensure the right kinds of not flooding everything. And then my plan is that there will be a lever that simultaneously... Oh, it's another vile force of darkness. Look, we're not ready for you. How many of you are there anyway? Are there any of you? Like, if you're an empty vile force of darkness, we don't really mind. Let's just wait and see if they can turn up somewhere. Oh, there they are. Well, I mean, strictly, there are a couple of goblin snatchers. Right, so let us temporarily stop people... No, don't dump, forbid. Temporarily stop people trying to put bits of goblin in that minecart. Open the... Raise the drawbridge on that side. Hope no one's walking over it at the time, but like, not much we can do about that if they are. Right, have we found any like actual attacking type goblins? Right, we have 2 goblin bowmen and 3 goblin thieves. So far, there are the 2 goblin bowmen. So we might get to see what the giant hamsters do when faced with a goblin horde, and also our war giant jaguar.
That still feels really wrong. Giant war jaguar, but also
I think the giant hamsters may not actually enthusiastically engage the goblins. Meanwhile, let's summon the more useful squads. I kind of feel we want to get them further south than usual, because otherwise the goblins may like encounter some okay, we've got slightly more. We've now got 3 goblin bowmen. Oh, there's one. Yes, one there. Because we haven't managed to dispose of the last batch of goblins, 6 actually, they're now mixed in with the caged ones from the previous siege, which is inconvenient. So the giant hamsters are all running away. The jaguar is running towards being trained in war. And seems to have been hurt already. That's unfortunate. Right, it's got a fractured skull from and damaged guts from being hit by 2 arrows before even reaching the goblins. Meanwhile, the dwarf has reached the goblins. Where the Axe Lord Bomrek Aaron Zephon has been missed several times, dodged one. And vigorously started taking goblins apart. basically the danger is he might get tired before everyone else turns up. So let's send them all down here to help. How are you feeling? Yeah, you're getting a bit tired. Terrified, but also getting through the goblins at a pretty decent rate. Right, well, that's the siege defeated by single-handedly by one dwarf, I think. Oh, he's going off to deal with the... I think the giant hamster just got involved in that one. I think the giant hamsters may not be as useless as they look. Okay, no, they don't seem to appear in that list. Right, yes. One hit killed that poor goblin thief, possibly. No, I think actually those are two. He hit that one twice. There is still a goblin thief over there if anyone wants to try to deal with it. Thank you. We'll look at that in a moment. Right, the goblin thief is apparently not actually getting into fights with giant hamsters because neither of them really wants to attack the other. Now the war giant jaguar might be interested. But isn't looking very well itself, to be fair. So yes, there is this problem that even quite large and vicious animals are quite easily taken down by ranged weapons. So we do really want to avoid that kind of situation. Did the jaguar just walk straight past the goblin thief? Oops. Not quite, but yes. I mean, the jaguar is kind of unwell, so... in particular, can't keep up with the goblin. Yeah, we really need a way to make armour for animals.
Wow.
Right.
I mean, I am now thinking of like pictures of kittens in chainmail on like,
Yes, but this is a jaguar the size of like a cow.
yeah, well, I mean, horses had armour. I admit
Yes.
horses are generally, on average, slightly less likely to tear your face off when you armour them up than, say, a jaguar is. But, well, at least on purpose. I mean, horses accidentally, like, doing you serious damage is really quite likely because, you know, they go, ooh, it's a shadow, let me freak out.
Right, so yes, useful things we have found out. One dwarf with an axe is much more effective against a bunch of goblins with ranged weapons than a war jaguar is. Where is the war jaguar going? I'm pretty sure we don't have veterinary medicine yet.
Where does the war jaguar go? Anywhere it likes.
So let us have a look at this armour stand, which we could use to mark the new new barracks. So its name Actually, let's check its name in English as well. Its name is Ezestadek, or the Evaporated Sides. It is a jet armour stand. All Krasdorf ship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with emerald-cut green glass gems and encircled with bands of yak leather. This object is adorned with hanging rings of persimmon wood and menaces with spikes of jet, granite, brass and rope reed, which is a kind of thread. On the item is an image of Dimati Furthrough, the elf, and Allo Declineshaw, the dwarf, in blue garnet. Allo Declineshaw is striking down Dimati Furthrough. The artwork relates to the killing of the elf, Dimati Furthrough, by the dwarf Allo Declineshaw in the Sea of Mines in the mid-autumn of 106, which is quite near here. I think this is the Sea of Mines. During Lepupalothi, the ferocious onslaught. On the item is an image of tetrahedral tetrahedra in fine pewter, and not, sadly, in tetrahedrite. I don't quite know why all of the polyhedra in this game get adjectives describing them as being, well, polyhedral. Oh yes, we need to do something with the ravens. I think we may have screwed that up already. I bet you're trying to train a raven, aren't you? Yes. Possibly you're trying to train that raven? Yes. So there's a problem that if a bird incubating an egg gets trained, that pulls them off their nest box, as we can see this square. Actually, it does that. Well, that causes them to stop incubating the egg because they start doing training things, and that may cause the eggs to become unviable. So I should split. So I should mark at least some of the ravens as, possibly all of them for simplicity, as please temporarily do not train this one. Possibly we want to keep the semi-wild one available for training because it needs all the female ravens, because it needs training or it'll actually go wild again, and that would be bad. But let's take all reasonably well trained female ravens and temporarily unassign their trainers. And that will help with not accidentally breaking their eggs. I don't know how we tell what happens to unviable eggs. Like, given they're still forbidden, will they just sit there until they rot? Do they rot? I'm not sure.
Unviable chickens, that is, if not a ye question, certainly a question.
So, is anyone working on my bridge yet?
I have this bridge to sell you.
No, I don't. I would like a bridge. No one has built the bridge yet. Oh, someone is working on building the copper bridge. It's going to take them a little while to get all the copper into place. Meanwhile, let us construct some walls either side of here so that anyone wanting to leave has to pass through this square, so that we can then stick a pressure plate on that square, I think. Actually, let's first put the walls out there to help with, again, guiding. So we also probably want a door that we can lock against dwarves so they won't tread on the pressure plate, or at least will tend not to tread on the pressure plate. So that's like less urgent. Well, none of this is exactly urgent. Take advantage of that tree. So build those walls first, and then we'll build the ones that would... Are you the one trying to build the bridge? Have you managed to get yourself... Are you getting at this bridge by climbing a tree? Is this really a sensible plan? Are you ever going to be able to get out of that tree again? These are important questions.
I'm just trying to use the word sensible in relation to something the dwarf is doing. I
Yes.
think, you know, we should probably generally assume that this means that...
Oh yes, because there's a staircase out of that tree, so that's fine. Because we've had to get people out of that tree before, I think.
Good. When I say good, I mostly mean, oh god, dwarves.
So yes, it'll take a little while to get all of the copper into place for that bridge. Right, so we now have a gap here where we can build a pump.
Somewhere in here, I'm sure there's some drugs. Not those drugs, or those drugs, or those drugs, but those drugs.
Right, we could remove some of the unnecessary ramps. Though to be fair, many of them are currently necessary. Those ones are. That one isn't. That one's stupid. But then actually what we want to do is to make this bigger, because we want, while it's 5 tall here, we want it 7 tall at that level. And we also actually want a drainage channel somewhere that will go even further down. So then that suggests we're going to want some copper grates. I mean, we could make things out of other materials than copper, but we've got copper. How many grates have we got anyway? Oh, we've got lots of grates, right. We'll just use those. Right, so that'll be fine. Where have the giant hamsters gone?
Just disappeared. It's not dead,
Don't
is it?
think they have. All right, here's someone dragging one giant hamster back. I think they've all just run away, and will have to be organised to come back to where they're meant to be as an ablative meat shield. Because it turns out that that giant hamsters are fundamentally a bit too scared of goblins. And so now the dwarves are running all over the fortress trying to find the giant hamsters and bring them back to where they're meant to be, which might not be the most useful use of their time.
But this would be the most hilarious, so, you know.
So then the idea is that we'll put grates all over this. We'll then stick a trapdoor in the floor down here that will then go into a tunnel that connects up to that drain. Which might be accessible to dwarves, I don't know. Well, we'll do it downwards. That'll be fine. So we dig downwards there. And we'll dig a horizontal corridor along there to connect it to the existing drainage system. I mean, we could actually, that bit of the existing drainage system is closer. I mean, admittedly, it's a drain that goes upwards, but still. Oh, more leopard cubs, excellent. There we are, so that will now drain. Oh, a human caravan has arrived, excellent. What are you fighting? Oh, you're fighting a minecart. Well, that's unfortunate. Our war grizzly may not be nearly as useful anymore, owing to having had an encounter with a minecart. Oh, on which subject we should set the. What? How have you managed to run into a minecart there? That suggests that some part of the dwarf washer is still functioning properly. Possibly we should shut it down, since it's probably not doing much good.
I must admit, I'm slightly confused why you still need to teach dwarves to swim, given you have a limited number of dwarves and haven't they all been taught to swim by now?
They haven't all been taught to swim by now.
Okay.
Is the simple answer to that. Right, so now we want to install a hatch cover there. Yes, I think for safety we should deassign, since I'm now planning not immediately use the dwarf washer for washing any dwarves. I will deassign all the minecarts. That way, so that's a fairly easily reversible procedure. And that way, at least any minecarts that manage to get home will get removed rather than pushed anywhere, which might reduce the number of deaths. So then we need some way for people to get into this place, of course. I mean, we could just have them come in from the surface, I suppose. That would help with not accidentally flooding the fortress, which is something I'm very much in favour of. So how are our, presumably our, we now just have quite a lot of leopard cubs, yes. Though, yeah, I'm like, our problem with war animals is that they probably need to be somewhere where the goblins can't just shoot them immediately. So maybe they should be behind the drowning pool, because that provides some convenient walls to protect them. Let us, a simple way to do this would be to take this goblin welcoming thing, say we'll repaint it, and we'll actually repaint it by adding a new rectangle up here, and then removing all of the existing rectangle. There we go. So now all the animals that were assigned to it are still assigned to it, it's just in a different place. And the giant hamsters that have been moved to it have now gone, oh, we're in the wrong place, and are automatically moving to the correct location. Which is interesting, because that suggests a means of organising your war animals. In that, oh no, they haven't, they're all just going back into the fortress. Right, they've decided that they're no longer in the correct location, but they haven't gone to the right place, they've merely... they are still assigned to it, but they haven't gone... But they... Oh, some of them seem to be staying, and some of them have gone back to the fortress, and are now being chased by dwarves. So we are, of course, going to need a bridge here, and we're going to need to put that bridge in before we fully seal this off. So I've suspended the construction of one of the walls, in part so that we can get a chance to do this. So we want it to open by just retracting, and it needs to cover all of that area. And since everything is currently made of copper bars, it will be made of copper bars as well. And those ramps are now unusable. Right, so then we want to dig through there, and then we'll put a door in there. That should then be automatically closed. Right, our hatch cover is in place, so then we'll want a lever that will operate the drain, which will just be opening that hatch cover. Meanwhile, we're going to want some grates over here. Let's just go for use closest. Oh, and keep building, because we're going to want lots of grates. Let's leave a couple absent for building while we connect up the hatch cover. We can also add a bit of wall here. Oops, yes. So that will then be there to funnel goblins onto that one ramp, or rather through this square, which is where I will build, indeed may as well build it now, a pressure plate. I think we just want to say, yeah, basically any animal that treads on it should trigger it. Oh, we can set it to creatures trigger and citizens do not trigger. Oh, well, that's obviously good then. That can be a lot simpler then. Because that means the dwarves won't randomly trigger it. I wonder if the humans have brought anything interesting. Oops, wrong button, apparently. Just bring a few random bins. Sure, that'll be fine. Bet they'll contain something that humans are willing to buy. What's that K? Oh, it's a trained Kiwi, okay. That's our somewhat unwell war grizzly and our somewhat unwell war jaguar. Should probably assign the war grizzly to that pasture as well, shouldn't we? If they're not already. Oh, hang on, we appear to have a breeding pair of grizzly bears. Well, in that case, let's not assign them to that. Let's keep them out of the way, the same way that we do with the leopards. Oh, hang on, I bet we don't yet have any grizzly bears. I bet the humans have brought that one with them. Maybe I shouldn't try to steal it from its cage. I think there's a likelihood that actually and maybe I'm wrong. They don't seem to. Yeah, the crab apparently we can't train, so I don't know quite what to do with the crab. Maybe the grizzly is indeed in here. Yes, it does. Apparently it is one of ours. Okay. That looks like something got suspended. Yes. That one may be difficult to get to now. Oh dear. Well, we'll see. It'll be easier once the bridge is built, of course. Oh, and of course it might be quite hard to construct these because the bridge isn't actually there yet. Oh well. It'll happen eventually. What? Why is there a hamster in my swimming pool? I probably need to build some more doors. Okay, now I'm a bit worried. The water level in the old dwarf washer has gone down. I haven't accidentally arranged for it to leak, have I? It was at 4 to 5, which is its correct water level. It's now at 3 to 4. That's not actually connected up, and water doesn't percolate through soil in this game. I similarly don't think it can leak downwards into that corridor, and that corridor's dry anyway. So where's all that water gone? I mean, technically it could fill up a mine cart. Seb asks, maybe a ghost's opened a door? Yeah, the problem is there aren't any doors connecting up to it. I don't think. Maybe, I suppose a ghost could have come through that floor hatch. I think possibly one of those floor hatches is not lever controlled. Yes, that might be it. I mean, it's a relatively safe hatch to come up through. In that it just lets a bit of water into the drains. We certainly don't know of any ghosts. I mean, I want the water out of there in due course, but... So that one may be difficult to reach, but once the bridge is constructed, someone will be able to walk in there and sort it, so that's not a big problem. So the lever and the drain hatch are now built. So we can connect those together. Cat has just disappeared down there, followed by a giant hamster. At least I assume it's a giant hamster, could be a horse. Giant hamster. But I think there is actually a door at the other end, so it's reasonably safe. They will be prevented from doing so once that lever's hooked up. Then once the lever's hooked up, we can put the remaining grates in. We mostly need to work out why no one's built that pump yet. We've clearly got someone who can do mechanical things because they've built the lever, so I presume they'll get around to it at some appropriate moment. The wiki kind of suggested that giant peach-faced there's someone doing some mechanisms. Peach-faced lovebirds are quite scary. Possibly we should put some of those into the welcoming committee. Yes, they... We can't, unfortunately, train a peach-faced lovebird for war. A giant peach-faced lovebird, sorry.
That would be less strange, but still fairly strange.
Nest box is claimed, but on the other hand, does not appear to have a raven actually sitting on it. This raven is still sitting on a nest box. It looks like it may even be the correct raven. So maybe we're going to get 3 young ravens. Let's see. I think if those hatch, then I'll mark the unforbid the other eggs. Right, so we now have a pressure plate there that will that is intended to operate the bridge that will drop all the goblins into the drink. But there is still a lot of construction to do. Fortress attracted no migrants this season again. Oh, let's actually summon the broker to the depot, though I have a feeling he may be building something immensely big and complicated. Possibly we could suspend its construction in order to get this to happen.
Then he'll piss off for a drink.
Yes, true. Okay, that doesn't actually tell us what it's constructing. And this one doesn't allow us to search for the broker. There are some ways in which the new, which isn't so new now, Dwarf Fortress user interface is not as good as the old one. So where's the... No, it's not my broker who's building that one, at least, I think. No, my broker is just installing the door into the new pool. Which might take a little while. Here is the dwarf who is constructing the bridge that will drop the goblins in the water. When are we going to get some hatched ravens, eh? I don't really know how long eggs incubate in Dwarf Fortress. I have looked up that leopards take 3 years to reach adulthood. Possibly I should detach the broker from his current job if he's still working on it, because like maybe it's a rather heavy door that will cause the door to be abandoned wherever it currently is, and then someone else will come along and pick it up. Now the broker is almost certainly going off to drink. Yes, Simon called it. Won't take long. Who is linking items to linking building to trigger or whatever it is? You are. You're like a critical part of the construction. Yeah, this is a slight problem with using copper mechanisms. They're much heavier than stone mechanisms, which is kind of weird. Right. Does that mean that link job is finished? Yes. Let's just test it. pull lever right now. Oh, also while we're here, reinstate East River North bridges. Right, that looks like we have a pump. It is set to pump in the correct direction. We're probably going to want to have like a windmill attached to it somehow, aren't we? Right. Which is going to need let's build a staircase up here rather than trying to do that from some existing staircase. Right, so pulling that lever has indeed opened the floor hatch, so I believe that works. Let us install the last two grates. There we go. Oh, we seem to have oh right, he's died. A tree growing in the dwarf washer, but that's okay. It's already dead. We're still waiting for that door, which is not strictly necessary, but like it will make it harder for them to run away. So actually, let us now say, can we build a new barracks here? And have the Veiled Smiths and the Mooners of Bolting train in that barracks, as that automatically removed them. From that barracks, yes, it has. Obviously, the Lardy Larks train nowhere. Right. I think we should drain the water from the dwarf washer in case it runs any other creatures over. That minecart should be removed. Someone should be removing that minecart. Right, so now dwarves are coming in here to train. We can't flood it yet because we haven't finished the building works, but they do at least think this is a good place to train. Good. As does a giant hamster. Oh well. Let's demolish some more of those ramps.
We forgot to accept it. Oh, badges looks. Presumably I could try it remotely on your instruction, and if it doesn't work I could then revert in something. Yes, that's true. it's up to date to what yours was before.
I checked it is.
That one probably got suspended because there was an object in the way. That one may get suspended simply because it's hard to get to, which will be fixed once the bridge is built. So many things are once the bridge is built. But yeah, we'll get there. Okay, apparently giant hamsters are an important part of our dwarf training regimen here. We do also need to like build a wall along here, which will be slightly fiddly. Oh, we can start doing that now because that pump is now in place, isn't it? Let us gradually build a wall along here. Oh, what? Why can't you find a path? Do I have to cancel the wall in the corner? Oh no, I was just being stupid. Right. Right, now can we do some trading? Yes. Have they brought anything I care about? Probably not, but like we need to check. They brought a cat. No, we've got cats. Okay, we'll buy your unusual booze because I think it's often helpful for us to have booze that we can't make locally in case people like it.
Dangerous if they like it and can't make it.
Well, yes. And we also don't get jellyfish here. Like, we can't make cheese. We'll buy a cheese as well. Just take this entire bin of second-hand clothes.
Especially all the ones that the elves won't take.
Yes. We could try building a tavern. It might work. I mean, mostly I'm just trying to breed things that aren't dwarves, which seems to be working, kind of. Except that, of course, they can't do most of the work, so... where is that minecart that wants unforbidding again? There it is. I suppose if the goblins, like, hurl all their crossbow bolts at, like, great big but fairly useless creatures like giant hamsters, that might reduce the number of crossbow bolts they have spare to fire at dwarves. Not that this makes much difference. That was completely the wrong button. That's why I was being confused by why I couldn't find the option I wanted. There seem to be not many people building things now. Where are all my building people? What are people up to? All right, several of them are trying to find their equipment. Okay, someone is trying to build a wall at least. No one is currently working on either of the floor grates or the door. Suppose we can release the broker now, can't we? Possibly we do need to make some more clothes. There isn't a tavern, but there is a dining room. Taverns are distinct for being like open to the public and such. Is that a mongoose? Yes.
The public meaning any non-citizens of the fortress who happen
Yes.
to be wandering through.
Oh, what are you up to? Oh, you've decided there's an item that needs storing, have you? Yes. It's a very battered iron mail shirt. The problem being that when armour arrives wrapped around a goblin, it tends to end up being in a fairly poor state once it's removed from the goblin. There's still a dwarf working on that bridge, I believe. Quite thirsty because they've just been doing it for days and days and days and days. All right, I think they may have briefly got something to drink in the middle of the job. Presume that dead cat is waiting to be dumped because everything is. Yes. One person organising combat training, one person waiting for combat training. Is that going to turn into like some actual training? Watching wrestling demonstration. I'm slightly concerned by the fact that the wrestling demonstration is being carried out by a militia captain standing next to a cat. Is the cat involved in this wrestling demonstration? Are you wrestling with a cat? I fear that may not go very well. Do have a lot of things still needing to be stored. All right, someone's now working on the door at least. We do, of course, need to make sure we don't accidentally make the pump functional before the bridge is installed. because that would get messy. Oh dear, that suggests that the this pasture may be a bit overcrowded. It is kind of full of young leopards, I suppose. Are we going to accidentally end up training giant hamsters to swim as well? What use is a cockatiel in a cage? I don't know why that's been constructed there. Let's deconstruct it and do something, well, probably less useful with it, like squashing it, because I still don't really know how you get vermin out of cages. But I do know how to destroy the cage with the vermin in, so that might do the trick. That's a trained Tiercel peregrine. It should be released from its cage. Ditto that. We can't really do much with the crab. Right, that's the one with the dead goblin in it. Right, don't know why we have tame wombats around the place. They just seem to be a thing we've got now. Of course, that's put a load more jobs on the queue. Are you busy training hamsters? Yes. Well, that's fine if you think they need training. The goblins did, after all, as far as I can tell, manage to kill none of them, so because the hamsters ran away. Like, I think giant hamsters may not actually be helpful for even as ablative meat shields unless I put some effort in. Like, maybe I need to chain them all up or something, because at the moment they just run away, which is, yes, perfectly sensible from the hamster's point of view, but does mean they don't really slow the goblins down. So why have we got a turkey cage there? How has a turkey ended up in a cage anyway? Well, we'll let it out. Everyone seems to be too busy to build anything now. This is annoying. Even though there are several people marked as no job. Like, there are jobs, go and do them. Come and build these 2 floor grates, for instance. You could build this bridge, you could build this wall, you could build this staircase. Probably can't build that wall yet. Is that door linked to anything? It is, right. Yeah, okay, people are, yeah, I think we need a different place to keep the leopards and grizzlies. I think they may be causing trouble. Let's stick them in, let's stick them in this stockpile. Be a fairly safe place for them to be. Right, huge number of more jobs for moving leopards and grizzly bears to a different location. Well, the door is in place but not fully installed yet, because I think someone stood in the way. Oh no, council's construct building is interrupted by agitated giant albatross. Oh, we have got one of the floor grates in at least, so that's almost fixed. That's fine, they can leave. And the other floor grate's in place, good. Now how about building these walls and, more importantly, that staircase so I can power the pump, and indeed this bridge, which is kind of critical. Ended up with that construct building job being suspended, yes. So someone was working on one of the walls, but oh no, that's probably the wall that's meant to be suspended. Resuspend that one, because that's our access route to be able to fill in this wall and indeed build this bridge when someone finally gets around to it. Right. We are continuing to add giant hamsters to the stock. I'm not sure this is actually sensible. Apparently that door got suspended again. I've asked for it to be built again. That wall is not suspended, just no one's currently working on it. Yeah, there is a slight problem that now we may actually be getting so many giant hamsters that that everyone is training giant hamsters rather than doing something useful. Though admittedly we are like eat, provisions, sleep, 2 store item in stockpile, 3 store item in stockpile underway. A lot of pick-up equipment as people try to organise their, presumably mostly organise their military stuff, I assume. Or maybe not actually. Maybe this is about getting some decent clothes, or halfway decent clothes. That appears to be a cage containing a dead goblin that has ended up filed in this stockpile. Possibly we should actually remove cages from this stockpile because we now have a dedicated cages stockpile. Which will now schedule yet more jobs. Still none of the construct building jobs are going, which means that the copper bridge, I presume it like has been started. It has a pile of copper in it anyway, but it's temporarily not being built, possibly because the person who was building it got hungry or something. Come on, you guys, build some buildings. Meanwhile, I think I should pull more people into... This is obviously not going to help with getting jobs done, but... some of the few people who are not... We don't actually have that many people who aren't in the military. Now I look at it.
Right, okay.
Like there's the broker and the mayor and someone with only one hand. Someone who is officially only ever a diagnostician. There's a doctor we can pull in. And another one. But yeah, actually most people are in one squad or another already. Possibly that means we should actually disband the Moons of Bolting, which means there may only be like 10 dwarves in the fortress who can't swim. We're putting possibly more effort into making this swimming pool than is strictly required for the number of dwarves it's ever going to train. Now, on the other hand, this one is going to drown plenty of goblins, I hope. Oh good, someone's building a thing again. Let's watch them. There they are. This is going to involve lots of walking back and forth with copper, I think. Because a lot of our existing copper is down in the metalworking area, which is reached by a rather long trek into the fortress. I think part of the problem here is that I laid out this fortress on the assumption that we needed to not let goblins get at the main staircase immediately, and it turns out goblins have never got close to the entrance to the fortress. So that was really a rather unnecessary precaution. It means that it's a slightly long trek from anywhere to the outside world. I suppose we could dig new entrances. Someone claiming I need some more excitement in my life while also having to feels vengeful while joining an existing conflict note. Bit odd. At some point we'll dispose of those goblin corpses, but that seems to be a low priority for the dwarves. I think there's 35 copper bars that need to be put into this bridge, and unfortunately only some of those were able to come from the surface stockpile. And now that they're assigned to the bridge, they can't really be moved anywhere else. Apparently the way that you get to this bridge is by climbing into a tree. Right, that's that done. Now we'll go and fetch another bar of copper. Oh good, those stairs are finally likely to get built. That's nice. Did that door get installed? No. It's suspended again. Something's rotting as usual. Why is there a random forbidden siltstone mechanisms there? I suspect that was when one of my levers got demolished. Maybe at some point we should do something about that. Did you just get distracted? Yes. Resume. Don't quite know where the copper bars went. Yes, one problem with bridges is while they are a cheap way to make a large floor area, you do have to actually... Oh, they're at the copper bars, I think. Or are those for something else? I can't remember. You do rather have to get all of the material to the bridge one at a time, whereas if you're building a floor, say, you can each square is built separately. Yes, possibly requiring everyone to bring the giant hamsters back is too much of a problem, in that it takes forever to get them back to the correct location when they run away. There are still giant hamsters in places where giant hamsters shouldn't be. Maybe the giant hamsters were a mistake. I mean, we could set to work gelding giant hamsters. I'm sure that will be fine. Will not lead to lots of injured dwarves. I don't think there's any reason why that wall should be difficult to build. You are continuing to melt down goblinite, which is probably helpful, but things that I would like built out of it are not yet getting built. How is this door not built yet? It keeps getting suspended and I don't know why. Not even sure where the door is. I mean, the actual door that's got to be installed there. Not that we really need it, but it would be nice. All right, someone got interrupted by an agitated giant albatross again. Our problem is simply that there is an agitated giant albatross around, which is harassing dwarves. Often, I fear, when they are trying to build things. This is probably a bit of a difficulty with our doing things on the surface, is people keep getting interrupted. Right, so we have that upward staircase built now, at least. We can't actually construct the whole of the mechanism for filling the reservoir just yet. We can build the floor that it'll... So that's the square above the pump, isn't it? So we should probably construct a 3x3 floor to put a windmill on. Like that. And we can, I think, immediately construct a gear assembly there. So have a look at the task list. Now, lots of people who are storing goblin corpses in their correct locations, that might help. Several people seem interested in building that floor, even though there are lots of other things I'd prefer them to be building. Oh, they've built that wall, excellent, right. Build another square of wall there then. What? Then I think we have to pause while we get this bridge built, if anyone ever decides to do it. How many copper bars have we got here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. I vaguely remember it was 35 it needed, so still quite a lot of copper going to need to be brought up for those, but for that bridge. And it all has to be done one at a time. Right, here comes someone to build our gear assembly at least. And here is someone who I think is coming to build the one of the squares of copper floor. Obviously quite a lot of them can't currently be built because you can't get at them. Right, so that's that gear assembly hooked up and it's connected to that pump. Good. Oops, I think we may have slightly too many animals tamed. We don't really want to be in a situation where much of our effort is going into training animals rather than doing more useful things. Right, we cannot build a windmill up there until we've, well, at least disconnected the gear assembly, I suppose. But probably until we've finished building the bridge, which I think is still buildable. Like, I don't think you need access to an entire edge of it. Might just have a quick look at the wiki on bridges. Just see if there's like some weird restriction on when they're buildable. Only one adjacent tile is required. So yes, I don't think that is our problem then. But for some reason no one is currently building the bridge. Oh yes. I did notice we had cave crocodiles down in the caverns. Those are apparently pretty good things to kill goblins with. Plus, like, they lay eggs. They lay clutches of stupid numbers of eggs. Has one of our ravens forgotten its training? It doesn't look like it. How many ravens do we have? 7. I think that's 2 dwarves busy trying to keep giant hamsters trained, which may not be an efficient use of my population. What are you up to, Spearmaster? All right, you're killing a kakapo by unconventional means. All right, the stray raven has forgotten her training, apparently. Which might be why we have a nest box claimed by Raven. But they don't appear as like a wild animal. So I'm a bit confused by that. You're busy training ravens, yes. If we have... What's the current state of our raven population anyway? Do you have a female semi-wild raven? There's an argument we should... Since I don't think she's the one that's actually on... Oh, she is the one who's on the eggs. We do really want those to hatch if possible. But I don't really want to lose one of my female ravens either. Meanwhile, since the eggs here are obviously no longer useful, let's unforbid them so that they can be removed. I'm still hopeful that these ones will hatch. Someone has for some reason left their vest up on the platform there. So why is that bridge not being built? I'm slightly tempted to cancel it and just check if I can still build one. There. Does it have anything in it? No, I'm going to cancel that. And I'll re-request building it. No, that's not the right one. What's a bridge then? B. That's too obvious. Right, I can totally select that area, okay. There's no complaints that it's not possible to build a bridge there. Dwarves still hauling copper up to the other bridge, which is actually getting constructed slowly, very slowly. So is there anything else we'll need? That steel door is linked to a lever somewhere. Come on, hatch those eggs. Slightly worried that they might be unviable because the raven might have been removed from them earlier while I hadn't worked out that you needed to make sure they were untrainable. I think I'm too scared that that raven's going to go wild, and I'm going to give her back her trainer. Let's set those to any but place, so that will unfortunately almost certainly take her off her eggs. So I do now have a hope that our grizzly bears will actually start breeding. Assuming we do still have, yes, we do have 2 grizzly bears because we can see them. There's one there and one somewhere else because it's grey, because it's a war grizzly. Right, at least the war animals are no longer fighting the chickens. So we've got all of the floor that we're going to build the windmill on top of. So if we build the windmill, that will start off pumping. That will start off present, which is the state we want. And then we'll want a lever which we operate, which removes that bridge and stops the pump. So that should just be a case of having a perfectly ordinary lever. Oh, that door finally got built. Good. That just does both of those. I suppose we could at least build the lever while we're waiting. Seb asks, what was the windmill for? That's to run the pump to fill the reservoir that will then fill the new swimming pool. And then the idea is that there will be a lever that turns that pump off at the same time as it drops the entire contents of the reservoir into the swimming pool. And because the swimming pool is slightly larger than the reservoir, it will be shallower than the reservoir and therefore will not drown everyone in it. That's the plan. So many corpses that need to be thrown away, but no one is even getting close to doing that. I mean, they are moving some corpses, it appears. Oh, both bridges are now being built. Excellent, good. Things are finally progressing. In a sense. This one at least is slightly closer to the fortress. I think there are now 24 copper bars there, if that scrolling did what I thought it was going to do. Which is like getting close to the correct number, maybe. This one will at least need quite a lot less copper. We are doing our best to keep the frame rate down by compensating for the lack of dwarves with additional animals. And here is the dwarf who is building the bridge that will fill the new swimming pool, hauling a pile of copper bars to the correct location, we hope. by a slightly silly route, admittedly. They're going through the bridge. It's probably going to be a lot of copper to be moved. Some of it's coming from the newly melted goblinite, I think, given this route. Not quite sure where it is. Is it still in the smelter? It's still waiting to be moved out of the smelter, it looks like it is, yes. Meanwhile, I've passed by another dwarf hauling copper to the other bridge. That wombat does not need to be in that cage. That peregrine falcon cage could at least be installed somewhere. Apparently that cage gets specially marked because it's decorated. On the image, on the item is an image of dwarves in dog bone, apparently. So yes, we currently have, presumably now, 3 copper bars in there, yes. So that's 5 by like 9, 45 squares. I think it's a third of it, so I think it needs 15. I really hadn't thought of the amount of time it might take to just get all the copper there. Possibly I should have set up a copper stockpile of a suitable size that could then be filled in parallel, though to be fair, the stockpile situation is fairly silly in that there's an awful lot of stockpiles and an awful lot of things that still want moving into them, and dwarves have no sense of priorities when it comes to these things, so they would just be filling up the corpse stockpiles all the time. Now wondering which corpse stockpile they're filling. They're mostly filling, they've got a lot of jobs to fill 79. That worries me a little. Is this 79? It is, but there's no goblin corpses anywhere near that. Don't try to fill that stockpile, please. Because if you're filling that stockpile, you're doing it by hauling the goblins from the other side of the map, which is obviously silly. I don't know. I can remove the workers from that. Will the jobs get cancelled now that the stockpile is no longer accepting anything from outside itself, as it were? I mean, most of our dead goblins are on the east side of the river, so they should really be being stored in the east side corpse stockpile and then loaded up into the minecart over there. We have that second lever. No, actually, first name it. What's the old one called? New pool drain. So let's call this one new pool fill. So I think we want to link that now to the gear assembly because we want this state, which is bridged down, to be also pump running. I wonder what those copper bars are assigned to. Possibly building one of these walls, I suppose. I'm not going to train any new animals just now. Right, well the eggs have been removed from the unused... What? That nest box has been claimed by a peach-faced lovebird? That's unhelpful. I didn't want you to do that. Oh well. In particular, both of our peach-faced lovebirds are female, so we're not in any danger of getting peach-faced lovebird eggs. Giant peach-faced lovebird eggs. Ugh. Not just dwarves who are the problem, it's giant peach-faced lovebirds who are the problem. Three of our 4 nest boxes have been claimed by giant peach-faced lovebirds. Good night, Seb. We'll finish soon. Doubt anything very exciting will happen. I'll hold off filling things with water if we get to the point where I could, which is not looking highly likely. Oops, it's got suspended. Resume. Should check if the other one's got suspended. No, good. Just takes a long time to get all that copper there. Somebody is fighting. That's odd. Maybe I should have looked at that log rather than just dismissing it. Oh well. Yes, I think maybe we have too many giant hamsters. They are starting to delay things. Thing cancels trained stray peregrine falcon. No creature. Right, there's very few store item in stockpile jobs underway. Someone is moving a dead goblin. Possibly a dead goblin from the drains, but I'm not sure. Possibly they're suffering from yes. I thought they might be suffering from routing problems, but no, they just needed to get down into the drains and haul up a goblin corpse. Which, like, feels kind of unnecessary, but it will eventually get it sorted. So it looks like each pen or pasture only... Oh, there's someone actually doing a store item in vehicle job. Only has one person filling it at a time, which at least means that the... we don't have all the dwarves dragging giant hamsters around. What exactly are you up to? Nothing, okay. Why are you up to nothing? Do you not have work to do? Plenty of jobs around that want doing, you know. Yeah, you could clean a thing, for instance. Oh, is that a wild giant hamster? No. Why do you keep running away? There don't seem to be albatrosses around. I mean, I think being up there is quite scary for them, which is why this task keeps getting suspended. So I'm glad I started it somewhat early. Someone's having another go at it, at least. Maybe. It must be, I think there is... The dwarves of the Treaty of Caves have attained a general familiarity with raven training methods. Let's see if you can actually make it up there and fit that mechanism. Yes, excellent. Now you need to put the other end of the mechanism, another mechanism on the lever. then it will be possible to disconnect that. I'm a little worried if I do it now it will just deconstruct the gear assembly, so I won't do that until we've actually finished all the other setup. Right, so that's that done. How's that bridge going? Still being constructed. That one no one is currently working on. Sure, someone will get around to it eventually. At least, well, I'm hopeful that someone will get around to it eventually. I'm not quite sure because I'm slightly worried that maybe there's something about... No, but this bridge got, if not suspended, at least people got distracted from it. Oh, another strange mood. What are you doing? Right, you're trying to train a kiwi apparently. Okay, apparently we don't have a gender imbalance or catastrophic gender imbalance in our peach-faced lovebirds because they've just laid an egg. Right, forbid the egg. Forbid that egg. Mark, who's claimed the nest box? It's a plus trained female raven and a plus trained female giant peach-faced lovebird. Let's deassign trainers from both of our plus trained female giant peach-faced lovebirds and also from our plus trained female raven, of whom there is only one because that one's star trained and that one's semi-wild. I should also say ravens can't be pets. They're part of the furniture, like writing desks. Okay, our Moody Dwarf has claimed a mechanics workshop and appears currently to be having no difficulty with getting things into the right place. Oh dear, it's autumn. That might mean there's another siege. And if there's a siege, I might well say that that's the time we stop for the night. Go along, finish saving. There we go. Why is a giant hamster fighting? Okay, a giant hamster has somehow ended up hurled into the air. That's weird. Like that bridge isn't finished yet. We've got some tribute, that's nice. Not as nice as someone finishing building our bridges would be. An item actually getting dumped. That's exciting. Right, now a single pasture can have multiple creatures being moved into it. How inconvenient. So several dwarves are tied up with trying to get giant hamsters back into their correct locations. Including, it appears, trying to get the damn things out of trees. Here is a semi-wild giant hamster in a tree. Also, a doctor sleeping in the tree, which worries me a little. So, like, there's a perfectly good way down out of the tree. So for now, I'm not going to worry about you because you're not dehydrated. I'm slightly confused with the way that people keep... What's happening is that for some reason the giant hamsters are climbing this tree and then falling out of it, I think. Here's a giant hamster in the tree. Let's follow this giant hamster. Whee! Falls out of the tree. Climbs back up the tree. Falls out of the tree. Why is this giant hamster repeatedly jumping out of a tree? This is extremely weird. Is this because their trainer is in the tree? Dizzy reports that jumping out of trees is fun. Yes, yes, I suppose so. It is Sodelatirog, who is our main animal trainer, who's in the tree. So, right, okay, a vile force of darkness has arrived, and it's 4 minutes to midnight. So I think at this point, observing with amusement that they have not arrived from the direction we're currently building defences in, I think we stop for the night, and we'll come back on Friday to deal with that giant force of that vile force of darkness, which is probably not a very big one, and wonder why giant hamsters keep leaping out of trees, which I think might be because Sodelatirog is their trainer, and they want to get close to him, but they make a mistake and somehow end up leaping out of a tree. And Finkbee says, is it perhaps a giant lemming? It's possible. I mean, hamsters and lemmings do look quite similar, but I'm not sure. So let's just have a quick look at the task list and go, what on earth is everyone doing? Slightly fewer people storing items in bins, but there are a lot of store item in bin jobs waiting. Still no one building anything other than that bridge. In particular, the bridge that will make the swimming pool work is not yet being built, which is kind of annoying. Oh well. I'm sure we'll get there eventually. Right, anyway, I think that's all for tonight. So I shall press the save button and then I shall say good night. Good night.